Welcome to The Rest of the Moose,
Where's the rest of this moose?
a podcast about anything and everything.
You must have hated this moose.
Here's your host, Chris Grum.
And I am fired up today, so there's no telling what I might say during this podcast. But first of all, let me take a second to apologize for not dropping some podcasts in a while, but life gets in the way, and business and taking care of our customers at Premier Custom Travel come ahead of everything else. And I've been doing some traveling as well, so I did want to apologize for kind of neglecting this personal audio blog, if you will. But I'm back today because I just had an experience that really got me riled up and got me thinking about customer service and the lack of it these days. So let me kind of set the stage. And I'll admit that on the surface, this story is kind of petty, but it's one of those things that just gets under your skin after a while. So back in 2021, when we bought this house, the neighborhood was still being built. And so it was almost daily that we would have door-to-door people coming by, selling this and selling that, trying to sell you water softeners and solar panels. That was the one that seemed to come almost every day. And look, I understand you're doing a job, and I don't know that I'd ever want to go door-to-door, so I have a somewhat of a respect for the fact that you're willing to go out there and bust the shoe leather to do it. However, I do have a problem when you violate clearly labeled properties that say no trespassing or do not disturb or no solicitation. I feel like that's, the homeowner's right. That's their property. If they don't want you there, you shouldn't be there. And then also here in Iowa Colony, we have a city ordinance that says if you're going to solicit door to door, you have to have a permit. And so those two things, if you're following the law, I got no problem with you. But when you repeatedly keep coming back and people tell you they don't want you here, and when they point out the no solicitation signs, you become a snake oil salesman. Well, I'm not really selling. I'm just telling you about. Well, you're selling. Don't BS me. You're full of crap. You're selling. So anyway, we had a ton of salespeople coming to the property. So we have two very clear signs. I am talking Stevie Wonder could see these signs. They're so obvious. One is literally next to our doorbell, and the other one is on the path coming up that say no solicitations. So that should be simple enough. And I'm sorry, but if your job is door-to-door salesman, you should be told on day one to look for those things, and if they're there, to immediately not go to that property. If you're working for any kind of company that has any ethics whatsoever, that should be day one of door-to-door salesman school. I mean, it's kind of similar to the idea, and I'm going on a tangent here, but the idea of working for DoorDash and not knowing how to read a map. If you can't follow the map for DoorDash, or you don't know how to look on buildings for the numbers, like 9150 Elm Street or whatever it may be, probably not the career for you. I'm just saying, there are certain skills that you need for certain jobs. So that being said, about a year and a half ago, they put in Frontier fiber in our neighborhood. And they tore up everything and laid down this fiber. And look, a lot of people wanted it, and good for them. And that's perfectly fine. But about 6 months before they really got the fiber here, their employees or their representatives, whatever you want to call them, because they're saying, oh, we're not employees. Yes, you are. You're wearing the shirt. You're working for them. Anyway, they started coming door to door about every 5 minutes. Well, I'm not selling. I could just, you could save money. Your next door neighbor, said that you might be interested. No, what's their name? Who said that? They're playing that salesman game, which don't lie to me. I mean, don't give me that crap. You're going door to door. We all know you're going door to door. My security camera knows you're going door to door. Anyway, so they came to the door and I pointed out the sign. They pull this crap of, oh, we're not really soliciting. And I tell them to go away. They come back 3 or 4 more times. Now, here's the thing. I work from home. I'm on the phone a lot. These people, yes, I could ignore the doorbell, but they keep ringing it, and then they bang on the door constantly. They are super annoying because they want you to open the door. And I can't work a phone call and try to sell something when these idiots are doing what they're doing. So I go and answer the door and tell them politely, and sometimes not so politely, what they can do with themselves and their fiber. So anyway, after about 6 or 7 times that these clowns come into the door, I go to their Facebook page and I send them a private message. And I said, what is it going to take to get your people to stop coming to my door? I mean, there's got to be something. You can put a name in a database that says basically do not call. And they answered, and the person that runs their Facebook said, I will take care of this. They will not be coming again. except they did just a few days later. And so I went back to the Facebook and I said, I thought you told me they weren't coming. Oh, we put in a thing. Well, no, you didn't, because here they are again. Do you have a picture of them? Oh, boy, yes, I do. So I sent that to them. And about, I guess it was 2 or 3 days later, I get a call from somebody who claims to be in their corporate security office. Now, I don't know what that is. It sounds just like something made up to me. But anyway, it was a very nice lady. I wish I had written down her name. And she told me, I understand your frustration. This should not be happening. We don't do business this way. We're going to talk to the people in the field, and I'm putting your name on a list and telling them all, do not bother him again. And she apologized over and over again. I mean, she did everything that you should do. She was very genuine, at least sounding. She didn't sound like I was bothering her. She sounded like she was genuinely concerned. So I thought, oh my gosh, we finally got this sorted. And it's been a good probably year, give or take, since I saw anybody until today. And here comes Mr. Knock on the door 20 times, keep ringing the doorbell, annoying the cats, annoying me, and I'm in the middle of dealing with a last-minute problem for a customer. I can't have this noise. So I go to the door, and here he is in the Frontier thing. Now, his excuse today was, we're here to tell people about the construction in the neighborhood. What construction would that be? Oh, we're upgrading our lines, and your next-door neighbor just saved several $100s. I said, you're soliciting. No, I'm not soliciting. I'm not even prepared to take your money today. I bet you're prepared to sign me up, though, if I do it. So it's that semantics thing. I'm not a salesperson, but I can sign you up and have somebody call you. That's sales. Don't lie to me. You know, and so now they have a BBB complaint that I just filed, and I went back on their Facebook and told them how much of a liar they are. And then this guy named Rob, who works for their Facebook, I'm assuming this is their social media guy, basically said, do you have pictures? And I sent him the pictures again. And he said, thank you, we're going to get this addressed for you. And I wrote back and said, look, with all due respect, you said that twice before. I don't trust you. And Rob has come back just now with, I do understand the frustration. I will have this information sent up. So I guess we're going to get another call from corporate security. But I tell you this story because this paints an overall picture of the problem that we have today with customer service and with delivering for the customer. And I am, as you may know, and maybe you don't, the owner of a small business, a travel agency called Premier Custom Travel at premiercustomtravel.com for all your travel needs. But anyway, I get worked up, as you can tell, by bad customer service. And the reason I do is because it's not hard to do it right. And it is not hard to have ethics and to have morals and to care about the customer, but nobody seems to these days. It is so rare that when I encounter it, I want to hug it. I want to sing from the rooftops that I got great service, but it's so rare. It is so incredibly rare. And that makes me sad because it's not like something changed in the world where we can't do it anymore. We've chosen not to do it anymore. And that's what I think makes it all the more sad, is that there's no reason for us not to give good service these days. We just, for whatever reason, choose not to. And it's spreading to all areas of service. I went into a big box electronics retailer, and it's probably not the one you're thinking of. It's actually one that just went out of business not too long ago. And now I know why. Because I walked in, and I was probably one of 3 customers in this huge, I'm talking Home Depot-sized place, and all the employees are just standing around. They've got like 20 people on the clock doing nothing, and I could not get helped. They're all on their phones playing games and doing this, that, and the other. And when I did ask for help, it's like, I'm troubling you. I'm bothering you. Well, guess what, buddy? I'm paying your salary by shopping here. And you guys are losing out to the internet when you could be better than it. Do you know why my travel agency still exists? Because anybody can book online. But the online can't answer their questions. The online can't answer their texts at 8 o'clock at night. The online doesn't send them emails back. In fact, you can't even email the online. You sit on hold for hours hoping you get somebody that, number one, can understand what you want and can go off script, and number 2, can help you. But we give great customer service. That's one thing I know we do. And that is what sets us apart. And it's not that difficult. Return a phone call, answer an email, be polite to the customers, answer their questions, know your product. It is so simple, But these companies like Frontier, and I'm going to keep saying their name, Frontier, because I'll never use their internet service. I don't care how good it gets. I don't care if it's the only internet in the neighborhood. I'll go without it. I'll get a satellite dish. I'll do whatever I have to do to not use Frontier internet. And it's because I don't trust them, and I will not give them my money. And they could be the best thing out there. It's just on principle, I will not work with you because you can't keep your promises. You can't do what's right. And look, I'm in business to make money. I'm not going to argue about that. But I'm also not in the business to gouge my customers. I'm not in the business to piss off my customers. And I will close my company before we become all about the dollar and nothing else. When you work with myself or you work with Danielle or you work with Scott, we are not trying to sell you the most expensive thing. We're not constantly trying to upgrade you. We want to sell you the best vacation for you, based on what you want, based on what you're looking for, based on what will fit you best. Because let's be honest, the $100,000 cruise, and they are out there, is not for everybody. Nor is the $299 cruise. That's why we exist. Because the internet's just going to sell you whatever you ask for. We're going to sell you what you need and what you want. Not what we think you want and not what the internet thinks you want. And that is what's called customer service. And sadly, nobody seems to want to do it anymore, or very few people do. I shouldn't say nobody. But it's so rare to see it. And I could go on and on and on, and it's just, I see it every day. Tomorrow night, I'm going to the theater. I almost get nervous about going to Broadway shows these days. I love the art form, and anybody that knows me knows it's a big part of my life. But I hate going to the theater because of the way the audiences act. And look, that's a whole nother conversation by itself. But the Hobby Center and the Alley Theater and all the other theaters, they have the ability to curb that behavior by going up to those people and saying, we will not tolerate this. And if you keep it up, you're going to be in the parking lot and we're not going to give you your money back. But instead, they cater to those people. They're afraid to talk to them. What are they going to do? Not buy a ticket? That's great for all of us. Let them not buy a ticket. If they're season ticket holders, let them cancel, because guess what? Somebody else will buy that seat. You're not, and trust me, I know because I've been trying to upgrade for years. You're not that hard up for people to buy seats. Every single time those shows sell out, they do very well. So don't tell me it's an issue of that. You could get rid of the riffraff if you really wanted to. We're just afraid to address it nowadays. We're afraid to come out and say, that's wrong. You're misbehaving, and you have no place in this building. Goodbye. And I'm kind of proud of some of our cruise lines, like Carnival Cruise Line, who always got a bad reputation for the Walmart of the seas and blah, 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 blah. Well, they're standing up now to the people that act like idiots, and they're throwing them off the ship, sometimes in a port, and going, guess what? I don't care if your cruise was supposed to end back in Galveston. You're getting off the ship in St. Thomas. You can find your own way home, because you don't do that on our ships. That is the way things should be handled. And it's just frustrating to see people trying to do the right thing, and other people are being allowed to not do the right thing and not being addressed at all. That's customer service as well, because 99% of us are doing what we're supposed to be doing and trying to enjoy that show or enjoy that movie. And guess what? We can't, because of the 1% that you're afraid to address. And go to restaurants and think about the people that come in there and complain just to get free food. Who's paying for that? You and I are. We're paying for that extra food because somebody somewhere's got to pay for it, and the restaurant can only absorb so much before they got to raise the prices. So like I said, I didn't know where this thing was going to go, and it's kind of gone all over the place. But the bottom line is this. We have the ability to give great customer service and to be decent human beings. If we are not doing that, it's a choice. Why are we making the choice to not do that? And I'll end with my McDonald's burger story. That this is something that whenever I talk to people about customer service, especially when I'm mentoring new advisors in travel or talking to just people in general that are starting out their work careers, this is a story that I tell them, and no shade to McDonald's. I love McDonald's. This is not picking on them, but McDonald's has advertised itself as America's first job. A lot of people, their first job was at a McDonald's or at a Whataburger or at a drive-thru at Dairy Queen or Sonic. You take your pick. And this analogy can apply to anybody, but I call it the McDonald's burger flipping story. And it goes something like this. So you get your first job, and you're at McDonald's, and you're flipping burgers, and you're making minimum wage. And that's your first job. It's not glorious. It's long hours standing on your feet, flipping burgers for very minimum wage. And then they take the taxes out of it. They take the Social Security out of it. And you're getting about 70% of what you originally were told was your hourly wage. You're working very hard for that money. Now, you have two choices at that point. You can be pissed off that you're the burger flipper at McDonald's and not doing a high caliber job that you think you belong in. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to be the best damn burger flipper that anybody has ever seen. And you're going to work hard at being the best burger flipper and knowing exactly when to flip them and flipping them perfectly 180 degrees and getting that sear just right. And if you do that job well and you take pride in it, the next thing that will happen is you're going to be the chief burger flipper, or you're going to be the supervisor of burger flippers. And that's going to come with a little pay bump. And you get a better title. And you get better hours. And you get to flip burgers on your time. You get to pick instead of working the overnight shift or the midnight shift and the drive-through at 3 a.m. when all it is people that you can barely understand because they're so drunk. And I'm having a bit of fun with this. But my point is you get promoted. And then you keep going because you go, you know what? That taste of that promotion was nice. I like the little bit of extra money. And I like that I have pride in my job. Guess what? I'm going to keep doing this really, really well. And somebody notices. And suddenly you're the assistant manager at that restaurant. And you're in charge of screening people that are going to be hired. And you have a shift that you now supervise. And then the next thing you know, you do that well for a while. And by the way, it comes with another pay upgrade. Now you're full time. And then next thing you know, somebody notices and says, you know what? We got a store opening around the corner over here. How would you like to be the store manager? And off you go. Now you're in the big time. You're running the whole store. You're in charge of the place. But you started as a burger flipper. But you were so good at your job and you had such a good attitude about it. You delivered great customer service. When somebody needed a break or the counter was missing somebody, you ran over there and took an order. You did what needed to be done. And now you're running your own store. And who knows, maybe down the road a couple of days, a couple of months, a couple of years, whatever it may be, you then get the opportunity to own your own franchise because they find out about how great you are. And they give you this opportunity. We're going to let you have a really low interest loan and build your own franchise because you've been that good to the company. And then the next thing you know, a few years later, you own 6 or 7 of these franchises. And you're sitting back as the owner, leading the charge and hiring your own store managers and assistant managers. And all of this comes from being a burger flipper. Now, even if you don't stay with the same company throughout your career, the idea is the same. Take pride in what you do. Deliver the best customer service that you can. And always look forward, not backwards. Don't be mad at what you're doing. And I used to hate this phrase when I was in radio, but we all got to pay our dues. We all got to work our way up the ladder. It doesn't come overnight, at least for 99% of us. But if you keep at it and you have a good work ethic, you have good customer service, you build your skills, and you really, really work at it, you'll climb that ladder. You will get there. And yeah, there's going to be setbacks. And yeah, there's going to be times you think you're not moving forward. But you have to be persistent. You have to keep at it because that's what we've done at Premier Custom Travel. 15 years in now. It took years to build this company to where it is. But we kept at it. We didn't go backwards. You have to go forwards. Like that guy on TV selling the investments. Always forward, never backwards. That's what you have to do. And one day you'll go from burger flipper to the top of the heap. Who knows? You might be president or, I don't know, whatever the next title above that is. But it all comes from wanting to deliver better, wanting to be better, and not just caring about yourself. And I quite frankly think we need more of that these days. We need more burger flippers.
You've been listening to the Rest of the Moose podcast, hosted by Chris Grum.
Why don't you forget the moose for a moment?
Previous episodes are available online at chrisgrum.com. See you next time for the Rest of the Moose.